Unlock the Black Friday factor that's 10x more valuable than even money. Now, be with me today. I have with me one of my favorite people of all time, Mushka, who we're going to bring in, and we're going to do a little bit of a training on a few things that we have. Welcome, Mushka. Thanks for being here with me.
Hi, Nathan. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we just finished another video where we were putting together with everybody, right, about the crazy difference of how people look at Black Friday. So we're going to dive right into that. We're both going to go through this. We'll share a couple thoughts as we do so. We would love, as we go through this as well, as you watch part of this video, any comments, likes, and subscribes you want to throw our way, we'd love to have that. But Mushka, I'm going to bring on my screen and we'll get us situated in a place to talk about 3 unique things that people, again, don't really consider when it comes to Black Friday. In fact, one of the hooks that came up from this that I thought was really interesting is, Black Friday is not about making money, right? That's one of those things, and everybody's like, yes, it is about making money. The other one is Black Friday, the Black Friday key strategies that 94% of businesses just don't even know aren't utilizing. So there's a lot of things that are surrounding really what we're going to do. Here's our screen, and this is what we're going to go through. We're going to talk about unlocking Black Friday and the things that go into this that actually are quite impressively and importantly worth a lot more than the money that we get on Black Friday. So here's where we're at. What did you get for Black Friday would be a quick question. You and I asked this question, Mushka. Maybe if I were to ask you, what deals were you looking to score yourself? Maybe just share that briefly with me and we'll talk about the difference between these mindsets.
I was looking at all the deals from Sephora to Amazon to Stanley, and also Shark. So I was looking at everything and anything.
All over. You're in there. A lot of you watching this doesn't necessarily relate to Black Friday exclusively because these trainings and these pieces work across multiple times of the year. But I bet you've probably got those things on your list. Mushka, you're asking me about that. I got to think about what I'm looking at. I just love looking at deals. I love commerce. I love what's going on. But here's the mindset. People are thinking about what they're putting in their shopping bags, what kind of receipts are, the discounts. They're trying to look at potentially, if you're thinking about this from a marketing perspective, how to dominate the conversation. So that's the consumer mind, right? Is we're a provider or a taker of goods. The second is the strategic mind, which is where we're going to be coming from. What are companies doing with Black Friday? Great question. I would ask you what you're doing with Black Friday. Data dashboards, are those part of what this is? Customer acquisitions, are we considering what that means? Long-term value, are these things taking center stage? That's a good thing to be thinking about with where you're at. Let's continue on our next slide here.
And I just want to clarify that we are doing this training because it's like the main essence of Thriveworks 360. Everyone does Black Friday, everyone does emails, but with a little tweak and with a little torque, and with a little mindfulness. Nathan saw what I did there. So with all these little efforts, if you're strategically aligned with what your product is, what your market is, the difference could be huge. From a few $1,000s to maybe millions of dollars. That's the difference.
Yep, absolutely, depending on the size of your business, your customer base, what you're doing, etc. And here's the problem. The problem with traditional Black Friday thinking is that most businesses believe that Black Friday success means maximizing revenue on a single date. Now we can expand that. You might say it's a week. It used to be the entire month. Some people have pared that back. A lot of people also look at Cyber Monday as well. But that's the thing, is we look at it as this limited period of time. They focus entirely on the immediate sell and treating it as it's like the finish line. And again, there's truth to this, but stay with me because we're going to unlock how that actually is just a very small piece of the pie. The results, a brief spike followed by a return to normal business, leaving massive value untapped. And that's one of the key things that we're really wanting to look at is what is this additional value? The truth is that Black Friday revenue is the smallest part of the value that you actually should be extracting. Well, why is that? We're going to break that out. The real opportunity isn't in the day itself or in this limited window, okay? It's actually what happens that can continue over the next 12 months that follow. In essence, a great way to bridge from where we're at and use Black Friday as a way to kick this off. So this is part of the customer lifetime value, and it's not just Black Friday, but we can consider this Black Friday lifetime value. So traditional customer lifetime value tracks individual purchases over time. But what if we applied that same thinking to every single customer that was acquired on Black Friday? The rest of the year, we worry about this. We think about this. Our marketing dollars are affected by how much we can spend depending on the value of our customers and our clients over time and the ability to continue to build and have profit in our business are. That's where the real multiplier lives, is in treating Black Friday as though it's the launch point, not the end point from where we're at and where we're starting at. So taking a look at that, what if every Black Friday customer was worth 3 to 10 times more than the first purchase? This isn't theoretical. Again, leading boards are already doing this, or leaders are already doing this if they understand and know the value of what can be extracted with Black Friday. And we're about to show you exactly how they're doing this. So again, the question is, are you that person that's understanding and looking at that? And here's the 3 things that we're going to talk about. The 3 Black Friday multipliers that most businesses completely ignore. The first one of those is data collection. Now, again, you would say that's obvious. We'll come back and talk about why. Capturing buying patterns, not just email addresses. Timing strategies, number 2, before, during, and after Black Friday positioning. The third is, again, post Black Friday momentum, the 12-month relationship that starts on Black Friday but does not end there. And this is the math. This is one of the challenges that I want to challenge everybody. The math that challenges everything that you know about Black Friday. Traditional Black Friday, we think about this $50 sale, the $30 sale. There's a cost a part of this, and we're looking sell, cost, profit, right? One transaction, done, and move on. And again, everybody, don't get caught up on this. You're like, no, I'm trying to do more than that. I've got an email series. Remember, I ask you to step back, open the mind with curiosity, and say, how might I do things that I'm currently doing a little bit different in order to find another shift in where I'm currently at with the success that I'm having? So here's part of the difference. The strategic Black Friday thinker is thinking, if it's a $50 sell, even though there's a $30 ad cost, how can there be a $130 profit? One acquisition is that 12 months of value can be built into that same type of an ad spend. So first, we're going to talk about here is the multiplier, which is the data collection part of this. And this is where we collect data that goes beyond building just your email list. Every business knows that they should collect emails, but that's just the starting line. The real value isn't under that. It's actually understanding the buying patterns on what customers are buying, when they're buying, what they're buying, and what they might likely need next. This shift goes from collecting context to capturing intelligence if we're looking, and this is where multiplying begins. Mushka, I heard you kind of want to voice in on this. What are your thoughts on this when it comes to the importance from your perspective?
I feel that people think that during Black Friday, the only goal is to get money, but I feel that the bigger goal should be getting leads for the rest of the year. So as you said, Black Friday is not the end of the year, it's the beginning of the new year. Once you have someone coming in for your Black Friday, they're buying in your stuff, you have that lead, and you can nurture that lead into whatever you want for the next 12 months and get recurring revenue from that one particular lead.
Which is great. Here's kind of one of those same types of things to think about. Sephora case study, the November 4th strategy, not just Black Friday, right? November 4th. Why don't you kind of share with this lightly, Mushka, since this is kind of your part of the world here.
Yes, I'm very excited to talk about this, as you all can see. So Sephora is one of my favorite places to shop, as every other person's. So the thing is that they have their annual savings event. So they're very strategic about it. They don't call it Black Friday, they call it their savings event. And this happens very strategically in the first part of November. This year, it was from 4th to 11th November. And they have like different, depending on whatever level you're at, you'll get a particular amount of discount site-wide on all of their products. So it could be 10%, 15%, or 20%, depending on whatever tier you're in. And this is just for like a few days, 5 days most probably. Once it's done, for 1 week, they're all normal, back on their, on normal prices. But then for Black Friday, they do like a 50% off on specific products. Now just think about it. Even before Black Friday starts, they have sold like millions and millions worth in product, and in also in like small gifts and those holiday kits and all those things, because people have this crazy FOMO that this product that we're eyeing, this will not go on 50% off, and by the time Black Friday comes, it will be out of stock. So they just work through the pre-Black Friday phase so carefully and so strategically that during Black Friday, and I'm being a consumer and I'm a marketer and I'm a smart person, and Nathan knows that I'm a savvy consumer, so I'm not just going and buying things off the rack, right? However, I always buy during their savings event whatever needs to be bought for myself, for my mom, for my sister-in-laws, whatever. And then during this 50% off, I still eye their website. I still go to the app, see something that I really wanted but didn't need it, but it's on like 50% off. So, I might as well just get it because, it's important. And also stuff like things that you'll all use all the time, like deodorants and shower gels and all those things. Why not get them at like up to 50% off rather than getting them, at the full price? So just think about the whole strategy that's pre-Black Friday, where they're getting people, getting leads. So many people sign up during this time because they have like 10% off for anyone who signs up.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into timing as well as one of those key topics, which will be right along with that. So thank you for sharing that. The other thing I just wanted to say, and this is just something because Mushka's there, she missed out on something that she really wanted to because they've done such a great job at creating urgency. But by the way, that's the case. The goal is to drive that kind of urgency that helps people feel like obviously they're where they want to do so that you get more of their business. So that's one of the key things. They started ahead of time. And again, we'll come back to timing as part of what that is, but they're gathering data that allows them to bring people in. Once they end up bringing those people in, you've got those people, not just for now, not for just next week. You do have it through Black Friday. You also have it through Christmas, and you now have those for next year. So let's kind of look at the next piece here. So the data Sephora collected, right? And maybe Mushka, if you just want to go ahead and review those 4 things, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Okay, so the data, as I said, that once you sign up, you immediately get 10% off during that savings event.
Yeah, let's go ahead and look at this slide really quick if you're good, and just clear the slide. Sorry.
Yeah, so the first thing is product preference. Once they have your data, they know what kind of products you like. And let's give you an example. Maybe you like skincare products. So they know that in the next 12 months, they're going to push skincare products to you. Price sensitivity, obviously they'll understand your pricing point, and then the ads or whatever they market to you would be specific to that price point rather than other things that you might not be interested in. Then we talk about shopping categories. Someone who's using face care rather than makeup or skincare might also be interested in hair care. So they'll be pushing hair care rather than, makeup, because they understand that you're more of a skincare and hair care person rather than a, makeup person and that side of the spectrum. Then purchase timing pattern, we've just talked about it, and we're going to talk about it again. It's the FOMO that they create. It's like the urgency that they create. It's the timing, because during the early part of November, everyone wants to buy. Everyone has their cash in their hand. As November ends, most of the people have already done their shopping. So it's the early movers advantage, obviously.
There you go. So at the end of the day, you got that $30 customer, right? They become that $165. So traditional thinking is, hey, we're going to go, and this is one of the things that Mushka talked about, moving away from make it just to general product purchasing. She's like, hey, what if we were going to sell colored pencils? And this is an interesting one. Think about this, super simple, right? Colored pencils. Heck, you could even say it's just crayons. Somebody buys that. Hey, the transaction's complete because we've got a special that's unique to everybody else. The strategic thinker is, hey, it's not just about the colored pencils, right? And it's not just about this in November. It's that there's an opportunity now to know that this person potentially needs to have some supplies of other art stuff. So November, colored pencils, sure, Black Friday purchase. What does this mean in January? Paper. What does this mean in February? Sharpeners. What does this mean in March? Scissors. What does this mean in springtime? Sketchbooks, August, back to school. And so what you have now is the same thing you talked about with Sephora. We grabbed and we brought these customers in, and now we can take a look over time, different strategies, different price points. And we've taken that $30 customer and we built them to $165. And then obviously you can go from one to the other, and you've got 1 year, 2 years, and 3. So that's a drastic difference in multipliers going from 30 to 165. That's a 5.5 times multiplier over what a lot of people think about when they come to Black Friday. Same customer, same initial ad spend that it might have taken for you to get them in. From just capturing and using the data alone is going to help make you better and smarter as far as what that comes and how that comes together. All right, so here's one of the other things as part of an ecosystem that we looked at with one of brands that we work with, Caterpillar, from one product to another ecosystem. So this is when a customer purchases a product. The goal is not just during part of what that tool is, but it's identifying them as a particular type of a person, because you not only have a product, which, as we talked about, we have different types of people that have different type of behaviors. So that single data point allows us to lock in and unlock entire next set of potentially things that we can tie in that support part of what that is. In addition to the product, this is a basic one. A lot of people are like, oh, I know that. Do you really apply it is the question that I would ask, is what other things go along and I would say are complementary to. You can talk about an upgrade, but that's less of the concern that we want now. And if I think about what is added to or complements with this, again, notebook and paper would be one of those examples, like the colored pencils. And then the other thing is by the way, some people will be willing to spend even more at the beginning if there are bundles and other ways of presenting this. So that's the whole key thing is what else can we do? How else can we build part of an ecosystem out that allows them to start and continue to move through that? So what most businesses do, they get the sell, they celebrate the Black Friday transactions. They think this is great. We're on where we want. They move on. They're going to shift focus. And this is true. They might still think about these customers, but I guarantee that when we're thinking Black Friday or before it, we're not really thinking next year as a completed process on how we're going to build this in. So the shift goes back to Q1 planning and really just new campaigns. And what they end up doing is they end up leaving all that extra money on the table. So there's just a ton of unclaimed opportunity when it comes to the way we think about what we're doing. So 3 data actions to implement now. And Mushka, if you want to just kind of go through these things as considerations on things you might do, let's not worry about the examples. Let's just kind of cover what these are and then share what these mean to you.
Definitely get people's name, their email addresses, their phone numbers, so that you can continue conversation with them. Definitely understand their buying behavior or their purchase pattern, like what kind of products they're interested in and what could be the complementary products that we could market them throughout the next 12 months. And of course, throughout the next 12 months, don't let these leads become cold or lukewarm. Keep them hot. Make sure that they're engaged and they're contributing in the revenue.
I think that's pretty easy. It seems simple when you hear that, Mushka. The question I still have is how many people are actually thinking and or are executing on this? A lot of people might ask, and I'll just throw out this, I call it an X, and then we'll give it a check. An X is, oh, this isn't for me, or this doesn't make sense, or I can't do that. It's because we're so busy. Hey, that's fine. We know you're busy. Black Friday is here. It is the time to put black on the board. It is the time to put more revenue. It is the time to maximize our ad spend, etc. The problem is most people forget that and they don't come back to this concept in the middle of December, and they definitely don't get back to it first of next year because they're always worried about just what's next. So data collection multiplier system, your initial self, $50, 12 months could be worth 500. So here's the thing, you can get a 10X multiplier. We kind of looked at that in several different cases. The key insights is you're not spending more on advertising. You're actually just extracting more exponential value out of the current customers that we've already acquired. And that's a key thing to do. This is number 2. This is what we call the timing strategy, before, during, and after. Mushka, I'd like you to kind of go through this with your thoughts, and we'll kind of move through these slide to slide. And let's just kind of again move through these slides, and we'll move and let this tell us the story about why timing is so important.
I feel that this takes me back to the concept of Engage 360 that we have at ThriveWorks 360. And, let's tie timing to that. So for any campaign, any product launch, any event, any holiday season, or any sale, there are things that you need to do pre that thing, during that thing, and then post that thing. And that's why timing is important. What are you doing pre-Black Friday? What are you doing during Black Friday? What are you doing post-Black Friday to maximize and 10x the result that you would have gotten just by doing a small sale during Black Friday?
I love that. One other thing too, that people that are listening to this, we are going to be putting a few things together on that Engage 360. Mushka's pretty passionate about this as well because it's outside of business. It can be in so many things of our lives. If we can think about before something happens and consider what we do to maximize leading up to it when we're in the middle of that, right, Mushka? And then what do we do to continue that as we move along? So critical. Again, a lot of people think about a particular moment in time and they might build around that a little bit, but they're not expanding that anywhere near as far as they need to. And so here's phase 1. Mushka, why don't you go ahead and share this as well?
So phase 1 is before Black Friday. And to be honest, even Amazon is so smart that they do their sale in October. That's before Black Friday. That's when people are thinking about Black Friday, but Black Friday is not exactly here. So people have their money. They're not spending a lot. So it's fall season. They're not traveling much. Their kids are back in school. They're, saving that money to spend during Black Friday. But then Amazon or Sephora or these big smart brands have their sales right before Black Friday. So people still buy for Christmas and for Thanksgiving during that time. But they've already made their money before Black Friday. So that's the first part, the pre-Black Friday part.
Wonderful. And I love this. I think about this. If you look at this, right, full customer's attention. There are fewer people trying to compete for people's attention earlier on. And you talked about October with Amazon, and there's a lot of groups that do this. Again, don't be too crazy because we're not saying, hey, we need to run Black Friday earlier. But the question is how can you get people's attention before, and you're planning on what leads into in order to maximize that. So I think the second one is important too, is if you think about this, Mushka, you had a chance and you had some money in your wallet, you were willing to spend and you were wanting to spend that. And that was before where we're at today. That was what, a week and a half ago or something when it came down?
That was
very,
around
very
like
smart. In essence, you get the person's
November 10th.
Yeah, you get the person's first dollar. And this kind of leads us to the next part. This is the attention economy in this world today. And I think it's getting stretched and pulled thinner and thinner than it ever has in the past. And if you think about this on Black Friday exclusively and specifically around the sales time, boy, I'll tell you, it's just one of another million offers that you're going to see, right, Mushka? And so which one do we want? What one would we take advantage of or not? You got the early bird, and this is where this comes from, is the early bird attention. You just compete against way fewer offers, way fewer people, way fewer competitors. And this is one of the things that helps you not have to fight for and scrape for attention. It's simply looking at part of the timing that we can do to prepare from beginning on what that is. And here's the choice. The choice is to be the only offer, which happens if we look at timing and strategically putting things in place where we can get 100% of the customer's attention on what our product is, what our promotions are, and the value, or we can be one of 500 of other people and only get a very, very small portion of their attention, and that instead of having it divided. So this is the phase 2 part of this too during Black Friday. And Mushka, if you want to talk a little bit about this with the momentum and information and other things as well, that'd be great.
This is all about, whatever you're doing during the event, during the time where everyone is there and you're there as well. What are you doing differently? How have you created the momentum beforehand? What is the data that you're collecting? So apart from the money that you generate from these sales, what is the data that you're collecting? What is the new relationship that you're building? What are the leads that you're collecting for the coming season or for the coming year?
I love this. One thing that this states right here is I like this. So don't abandon it. It says just enter it with an unfair advantage. Yeah. So if you're looking at what we've done on the first phase and part of the data, and we start looking at timing, which is what we're looking at now, and we're looking at being during Black Friday, you think about this, you're moving into it with momentum, right? And this is an interesting, Mushka. It talks about one thing to think about is because we already sold with what you've done in the past, like one of the ones that you wanted was the bag. They sold out of that probably in a matter of minutes. And so if they had another sell on something, last time we did this, it sold out in this time. So you end up with the social proof, also reviews and word of mouths that then add to the ability of what you're already doing, right? So the data collected, you're smarter, you're going to have different relationships moving into that. And that's a very key part. Phase 3, this is the after Black Friday. So this is Sephora's strategy, inventory movement. If you think about this, after Black Friday ends, it's not that you run desperate clearance sales, but what you can do is look at post-holiday offers. And I don't know what thoughts you maybe have on that, Mushka, as you being a big Sephora fan with what's been going on.
It's like they have sale on these specific products, and I'm so sure that this is very much strategic and related to their inventory. The inventory they want to move, they on those particular items, they have up to 50% off. So, people would buy it because, you'd see that there's something that costs $100. Now it's costing like $50. You'd be like, this is just free. I'm just going to buy it without even realizing if they need it or if they want it.
Yeah, and an interesting way to think about that, because you don't have to do the sell, but you can do other things. One thing that we're doing with one customer is, I'm sad because I wish Santa would have brought me something. And I don't know, is there another term that you're using for that I thought was pretty cute?
Oh yeah, I wanted this, but Santa got me this. So, I might as well just buy myself this. That's the narrative.
Way to do a great strategic spin on what that is post-Christmas as you move into some other things too, and that's even post-Black Friday. 3-phase strategy, right? Capturing before, maximizing during it, and then optimizing after it. That's part of what we're looking at. This is done by many brands that are at the top of their tier in what they do and how they do that, and which leads us to here one of the last parts, which is the timing multiplier. And so this is a math, if we were to look at this again, is Black Friday only has its 1x value, right? So we're competing with everybody, splitting attention if we're worried about only during, and we're having to budget against every other offer that's out there. The 3-phase is bringing together all 3 of these components, what happens before, and we're also looking at 2 to 3xing the value before. We get to think about the value during that, right? And if we look at the value after that as well, what we end up with, and this is the multiplying revenue we've talked about, 4 to 6, and like I'd say even up to 10 times more revenue by looking at how we stack these 3 things together in order to bring those to the table when it comes to that middle with timing. Again, so we started first with data. We talked about timing. This is the third element, and then we'll wrap this up as we kind of move here through the last few of these slides. Number 3 is what we're going to call the multiplier. This is the post Black Friday momentum. This is what we start to do when we move into the 12-month relationship with our customers. And this is what happens with most businesses. It's the drop-off. It's what happens after Black Friday ends. Sales are there, great results. We hit our revenue targets. We're done. The team celebrates. We're woo. By the way, Mushka, I'll just tell you a quick story on this. And I'll put myself up here. I thought about this. I was watching a show. And if you think about it, it's like we always beat the bad guys. There's a yay, but it's did we beat all the bad guys? And oftentimes, I think on alien shows, it's like we have this small win and everybody's cheering and they're super excited. And when we're done, we actually didn't win the battle. That was just the beginning battle of probably 3 to 5. And
Yeah.
so instead of celebrating, did we understand how we won that battle and how we continue in prepping for the next battle? So that's all a little bit of an interesting thought that I had, because I was like, man, that just happens. I'm like, why are they celebrating? They know they're not out of this. They know they're not a problem. You think about like thrillers and all those things. There's always something else coming, even though they've won the first battle. So I just come back to that. Same thing with sales is, have we won the battle? Or are we prepping for the real battle, which is the next series of months in front of us that are going to be much harder to generate the revenue than what we did in Black Friday or December when it just comes. So moving to the Q1 planning is what a lot of people do. Everything gets forgotten and they lose out on what potentially, again, is part of this 10x multiplier. Don't be one of these customers. Instead, let's look at the strategic post Black Friday timeline. To me, think about this in week one. What's the thank you and the support as part of the delivery? And Mushka, think about this. If somebody is sending you something in the mail, Sephora, or anything else you're buying as a brand or a company, and by the way, this works for services the same way it works for product. And I know I feel like in Black Friday, we're talking about products. It's everything. It's services, it's support, it's products. These all fit into the same category because when we provide the service, if we're doing a discount or we have an event, these things are critical to surround that same thing with. And then how do we deliver? So I think this one's interesting, delivering the updates, product care tips, bundling trust as part of the way we prep somebody to be getting something. We don't have to wait for somebody to get it, even though today people get things very quickly. Even your services come very quickly. The weeks 2 to 4 is, hey, what are the holiday companion? Are there other offers that then support this? Which is what we talked about as we start to look at getting into the year. January, New Year optimization. So how are they products aligned with the fresh start kind of a mindset? Because now we're moving into January, February, March, strategic cross-selling. And we'll just kind of move here. August, restock reminders. The pencils was a really good one. You end up with, back to schools and other seasons and other reasons. So again, looking at this, understanding that there's a timeline that you can put in front of yourself in order to plan and prepare for that. The complete customer journey, traditional thinking on Black Friday, again, generates the $50 minus part of the cost. They get a little bit of profit, end of the story. They don't have this momentum, but the post Black Friday momentum thinking is, here's what we've got, what happens in December, January, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, in order to take that same $30 cost of acquiring somebody and putting that into a much, much higher return over time is very, very important. So kind of here, post Black Friday momentum, as far as a summary on what this is as part of a launch, it's the beginning point. It's not the end and it's not the only point. So it's the beginning of a relationship. The sale just the beginning. The real value is going to unfold over the next few months as this happens. So 3 Black Friday multipliers, data collection, which is what we talked about, right? 10x the values customer by understanding what they do, what their buying patterns are, and unlocking the potential for what's coming with part of the cross-selling throughout the year. Timing and strategy, we've talked about before, during, and after, that this alone can help 4 to 6x revenue before, during, and after positioning to maximize the attention. And then also making sure that when we're done, that we put just as much time after, and as far as that momentum, looking at continuing to stack that all up and how these work together. So you got your data, tells you who bought what they need next. Timing gets your customers at optimal times and moments and getting their attention, so it's a little bit easier to do. And the momentum is what turns on customers into this next 12-month cycle. Each one multiplies and amplifies each of the next series. Data informs timing. Timing captures customers. Momentum maximizes their lifetime values, which is why, Mushka, we came up with these 3 key things that are such a big difference. And maybe you can go ahead and share this as well with your thoughts on this last one as we kind of move through a few things. We have a few last slides that we'll go through, but this is part of the implementation part, and we'll look at what this is. But go ahead, Mushka.
I guess there are 3 things that I'd want to talk about. Number 1 is how important timing is. Decide when to start, and then we can think about what to do. So like when to start, until when will we stretch this whole thing? That's very important. Apart from that, having a system where we can capture leads, where we can capture shopping preferences, where we can capture how we will nurture these leads in the coming 12 months. And then in the coming 12 months, making sure that we are cross-selling them products or services, or we are keeping them engaged. Even if we are not cross-selling, we are keeping them engaged so that next Black Friday, they're also coming back to us.
Thanks, appreciate that. One other thing too that I liked at the bottom, it just says start now. Mushka, you don't have to do all of these. Start implementing just one is going to help make a strategic difference and a fairly big difference in what you're doing and how you're finding success. So just don't think I can't do them all. Great. Just do a small part of one of them and think about how you're going to do this, right? So this is the emergency implementation plan of Black Friday is tomorrow. Focus on the after is something to think about. Like right now, you probably have most of your Black Friday things already going in. So if you're reading this or you're seeing this, and this is either during or after Black Friday, again, these concepts work across the entire year because a lot of people have different seasons. This isn't exclusive to Black Friday. We're doing this because we're at the forefront of what that is for a lot of businesses that are trying to take advantage of anything Black Friday, including services, supports and product goods as well. But don't panic. It's okay. You're going to still be able to capture the value. If we can look at this, so capturing data, just make sure you're doing that, right? Getting even the basics, the emails. If there is a way to look at part of the category, plan on how you're going to follow up in December. So what offers or what complementary products can you put on your list right now that you can go out there? This seems like when I talk about this, like, oh yeah, we know. I've been in businesses and I've worked with many that it just makes sense. Sometimes it's just hard to get there. And sometimes you're like, I don't have time. If you don't, can you just do this on one product? My recommendation is what's your best selling product and put it around that because that's one of your leverages. And then what I would say is right now, a lot of businesses have already mapped out their 12 months, but how can you map out what you think that plan might look like over 12 months? Even if it's something once a quarter that you're going to do to come back to them, that would be a great thing to think about. So the complete comparison, as we kind of go through this traditional Black Friday, $50 sales, $30 cash, $20 profit, 1 day game or guessing. So one event session, then done. Competing with so many other people, 500 and a million offers, split attention, right? Split budgets, sharing that money with everybody else. No follow-up strategy and data goes unused. All right. Strategic Black Friday is $50 and $30, but we've planned it actually becomes $130, the 12-month game for continuous value. So this is where, again, we end up with the owner attention. We get to own their attention before competitors do. We get to capture more information that makes us give and provide wiser decisions on how to sell down the road, strategic year-long engagements, and we maximize the customer's lifetime value. So it's the same traffic. And one of the things with our brand, I'll just jump back into, Mishka, we talk about this again, about mining more out of the business on what they already have. This is one of the unique things. If you begin to understand these kind of strategies, it actually doesn't take what I call more work or more time. The same team putting the same things into this. So same traffic, right? The same efforts, the same work with your current customers, whether that's a spend or anything you're doing to try to be in front of people, is simply better results because there's been this strategy that gets around that. So the decision's yours. This is kind of one of those things you can take a look at. Hey, do we want a couple bucks today, or are we willing to look at the 12-month game? Are we wanting just the small transaction of $20 of profit? Are we looking at this, what I call transactional mindset, Mushka? Do we just do this one type of thing? And are we going to continue to fight for, with everybody for everybody's attention and leave legitimately 80% of the value on the table? Or are we wanting to take the 12-month game? Do we want that $130? Do we want the strategic way of thinking through things? Do we want to, own the attention for longer with our customers and clients, and can we extract the real full value? Again, this is interesting. Your choice, it's your business's choice in how you do that. So here's a couple things, just take action. Mushka, maybe you can go through and just share your passion about why you feel like this would be important for people to follow these couple next things to put them into play.
I guess this is important because you're literally leaving revenue on the table that you do not need to have more people nor more products to gain, right? So it's the same products and it's the same people that you have, and you might be working just the same time, but you just need to plan it a bit ahead, and then you need to add a few things and add maybe a few tools or systems in place, and you can do the post, during, and pre, during, and post event stuff, and you can literally make 10x than what you're already making.
I love it. Simple, right? Start now.
Yes.
Make sure you're capturing stuff.
And also, I feel that you can break it down into smaller things as well. So you do not need to just capture the leads and start a pre and post event and do all of the things the first time. Maybe just start with capturing the lead the first time. Next year, maybe, just start with pre stuff and then during stuff and then post stuff. And then next year, maybe keep adding on it. And that's the essence of ThriveWorks 360 as well, right? It's a 360 degree. Its perfection is just going to waste your time. So we go in iterations. So one iteration, and then once we perfect it, and then we go on another iteration. So yeah, I think that's why it resonates with me so much. And I'm so passionate about it.
I love it. It is so true. It's just, we see it over and over and over. And it's hard when you know that every single business should just be asking this set of questions. It's simple again. And every time I hear it, I'm like, yeah, no duh. But then I'm even asking in the businesses that we're assisting, how well are we putting this into play? And to your point, let's just get going on it. If you're interested, go ahead and DM us. We'll look at putting together a Black Friday multiplier check sheet that will walk you through this and give you a couple things to consider as part of the process in order to help out with that. And let's see what we got here. We got a few more slides, which we might just kind of skip through. You can do this yourself, which is one of those key things. This doesn't need everybody else to come along. One is, again, the frameworks here. You can rewatch this video. The implementation is up to you. You don't need expensive consultants or other types of people or, complicated software. That's not required. Just implement at least one of them. Just do one multiplier, right? And get a 2 to 3x better result than you're traditionally doing two. You can implement two of them and get 4 to 5 times better, or you can implement all three, which is where that 10x comes through, because each one has its own method of multiplying it together. This is how you can really build momentum and move your business forward. So Black Friday success, the sales strategy, turn Black Friday into a launch event. Think of it as that. Think about it as a strategy, not just a sales stop. Treating each Black Friday event as its own spike, and start treating this as the 12-month value that it really is. 10x more monthly money by doing this than you can others. The Black Friday factor, that's 10x more valuable than money, which is where we started with this, is done through strategic customer acquisition that launches a 12-month relationship, and revenue is now renewable. The attention is no longer finite. Relationships are exponential. The business that now will win. It's not just capturing sales, and that's what we want. It's the data, it's the time advantages, and it's the long-term customer values that bring that all together. So turn your Black Friday into a launch event. And Mushka, we are very close here to what we're wrapping up on this, but ready to implement it is my last question. DM us again.
Black Friday, and then we'll help you.
Get you the resources, a free multiplier checklist. You can look at what you're going to do and how you're going to implement that. Follow us at ThriveWorks360. Again, I'm Nathan Rosnosnik, and this is Mushka. Our whole key thing is helping businesses that are looking to strategize and looking to build themselves to get to a place that's better from where they're at. Again, we found that a lot of people in their businesses are finding success, but for some reason they start to find that there's a variation in what they're doing and how they're doing that. Our key thing is some takeaways is, hey, let us know what we can help you out with. Our goal is to help you build relationships and revenue, and it's relationships over revenue. And it's a way to take what that $50 Black Friday sale is normally as a transaction, move that into 12 months. And now you're building something remarkable with the people that you're coming in contact with, your lists, your clients, your customers, and all things. Again, this isn't just physical products. This is legitimately in all services. And anybody would know as they continue to go through how important this is in order to do so. Mushka, let's go ahead and wrap this up here as we kind of conclude. Any last thoughts we would use with our audience as they've had a chance to hopefully be inspired and are looking at taking some action to put in place regarding any kind of an event or any kind of a sale idea right now Black Friday?
Yeah, I would say that always remember that it's not just the event, it's the pre-event, during event, and post-event stuff. And also, don't overwhelm yourself. Break it down. Just what is that one thing that you can do this year or this holiday season or this event or this sale time, and then just multiply it in the next coming of days.
Great, thanks. Appreciate everybody being here. That's what we were excited to put together. Mushka had this thought as Nathan, we're doing these things for other businesses, but we're not teaching this to the world. Let's put this together. Again, subscribe, and follow us and share us with others. And then again, if you're interested in a little bit more, find out a little bit more at ThriveWorks360. We'd love to see what we can do to help you out and help your business. Again, put some DNA, we call it DNA 360 of what you ideally do and what your best customer buyer looks like. We match that together and how we communicate it. And then we build what we call foundational consistencies to connect and build your official DNA that helps you do legitimately what this is we went through an example today of how people might normally go through this. And we can take a process that already exists, look at ways of finding multipliers, and we can take what is already happening within a business using the exact same tools, using the exact same teams, and extract more out of that. And we've just shown you a way to potentially get the 10 times more out of the same kind of an experience by us walking through some of the strategies that can be applied. Thanks with that, and we appreciate it. And we look forward to talking with everybody a little bit later. All right, bye.
Okay, bye.